Good morning, boys. We are starting the video today in the car. It's kind of a cold start. I drove it a little bit ago, but it never got up to running temperature. Today, we are going to be working on the idle issue. I'm going to see if I can fix it. I have a couple of hunches as to what it could be. So on a cold start, it idles just fine. However, you may notice that the idle is a little bit high right now. Now, all of a sudden, the car is starting to warm up a little bit, and I'm noticing the idle is starting to fluctuate. Check it out. I don't know if you can see that, but the needle is jumping up and down, maybe by like 50 to 75 to 100 RPM. Probably 100 RPM movement right there. Now, that's really not too bad, because usually it's jumping up by like 1,000 RPM and then jumping back down or dropping back down. So that's what we're gonna try to adjust today. I'm gonna drive this car over to my dad's house right now so we can get into the garage, and we're gonna take a look at a couple different things, and we'll get into that when we get over there. Let's head over there. Let's head out. All right, boys, so a couple things that I noticed right off the bat. First thing, just now when I was leaving, like when I got into the car to record that last clip, I noticed some coolant on the driveway. Now, I don't know if it was my car that left that coolant there or my grandma's car, but with my car being 25 years old, I'm inclined to believe it was my car. Also, it does look like I'm a little bit low on coolant, so I have a feeling I have a coolant leak somewhere. A coolant leak can cause a bad and surging idle. Also, the other thing we're gonna do today is we're gonna just check the throttle position sensor voltage at idle and see if it's where it should be. It should be right around 1 volt. I did adjust the idle position set screw a couple of videos ago. I don't think I showed it though. So my idle voltage could be a little bit off. Now, this is something that really confused me, but it's actually not too bad. We're just gonna need a multimeter, and that's about it to do that job. So we'll start with that, and then we'll go figure out the coolant leak right after, probably. Oh, Dutchie. Oh, girl. Oh, Dutchie girl. Oh. Oh, my girl. You're all riled up. Hey. Okay. Just kidding. Now, I should probably clean this. Dirty as hell. Now I'm gonna come over here, and this is like the idle adjustment screw. I'm going to figure out where the midpoint is. All right, so it seems like 5 turns is how many it allows for. So I set it to 2.5 turns, so it's dead in the middle. That way we have some adjustability in either direction, either opening it or closing it a little bit after we make our proper throttle adjustment. Now, the next thing I did was unplug this harness from the throttle position sensor, which is right there. I'm going to be using a multimeter to first test for voltage on all 3 of these with the key in the ignition and the ignition turned on. The black test probe will be plugged into the negative terminal in the battery, and then I'll be using the positive to test which one gives me 5 volts. Then I will be looking for resistance to figure out which one's the ground, meaning that the only one left would be the voltage return from the sensor to the ECU. That's the one that we're going to be measuring today to figure out what my throttle voltage is at idle. I don't know if that makes sense, so I'll just show you. So, boys, when I ground it out to the battery, and I also run the red cable to one of the 3 of the prongs for wires, I get a reading of 5. I just have to kind of mess with it a little bit to get an accurate reading. All right, now the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna flip this over to check for resistance, and it's just gonna beep now as soon as I get a resistance reading. I know that the top wire is the wire that is sending voltage from the ECU to the sensor. So that means that the one that I want, the ground, is either the bottom wire or the middle wire on this harness. I'm gonna go ahead and test the bottom one because I saw in another video that the bottom one was his ground, so I'm gonna just test that one and see if it works. If you hear a beep, you know it worked. And there's the beep, boys. So what that tells us is that the middle wire is actually the one that we're gonna wanna test. That's the one that takes the power that's coming from the ECU and then sends back a signal to the ECU telling the ECU how open the throttle is. So we're gonna plug the harness back in. We're gonna set up some like paper clips or something. I have to be able to like test on the wires themselves for this next part. So I have to figure out how I'm gonna do that, but we're gonna get a reading of what that throttle position sensor is sending voltage back to the ECU, if that makes sense. I hope I explained it well. That's the one. Go like this. That's the one. Alright boys, before I go messing with testing voltage on this, my dad suggested that I just back out the idle set screw as far as possible, so the idle is set to the lowest possible, and just see if it evens out by doing that. It might. Alright boys, here we go. Alright, so we're just gonna let it idle for a little while, and we'll update you guys in a couple minutes. Boys, so we ran the car for a little while with the air filter taken off, like the intake, like you saw me take it off earlier. And it was actually doing really well. I gave it a couple revs, the RPMs dropped perfectly normal. I put the air intake back on, gave it a couple revs, and it acted a little bit funny. So I'm thinking that because this air filter is so dirty, it's restricting the flow too much and causing it to idle weird. So we're gonna see if we can clean this filter. If we can't clean it, then I'm gonna go pick a new one up. Also, adjusting the idle position did help. Let's see if we'll give it another rev. So the idle stays high, and now it just dropped. That definitely needs to get cleaned though, or changed.
I'll spray you with this. You got it?
Yep. We're trying out the Canon Power Clean for cotton air filters. This filter's extremely dirty. Pops is spraying it out. Alright boys, air filter is cleaned. It is now back to black instead of just muddy brown and shit. I also cleaned this intake, hit it with Scotch-Brite pads, so now it's like a brush. And now I'm just letting the car idle, and we're just gonna see how she does. So far so good, but I'll keep you guys posted. Alright boys, big money plays. As far as I know, it's fixed. The idle issue is fixed as far as I know. I am praying to God, crossing my fingers, knock on wood, hoping that it stays like this, but cleaning the air filter and adjusting the throttle position set screw fixed it. However, my dad also noticed that my distributor cap is making a weird noise, so I am gonna run over to AutoZone right now, I think, and pick one up. I don't know anything about distributors, so I'm gonna do a little bit of research now. This is my first car that I've ever owned that has a distributor, so I gotta do a little bit of learning. And we'll go get that, throw it in the car, fix that. But that'll be another video. That's gonna be a whole separate video because I need more content for Vlogmas. And I'm just gonna do a series of like short videos this weekend, I think, because I have work a lot, so you know how it be. Also, I think I'm gonna try to do like a Q&A video about this car, like about whatever you guys want. If you guys want to ask me a question, DM me on Instagram or comment on my Instagram story or whatever, and I'll answer it. So boys, as always, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, get the heck out of here. And as I always say, please subscribe and remember to plan, commit, execute, and attain those goals.
Say that? That's fucking crazy. Holy shit. You hear what he says all the time? That's a lens. That's a lens right there, huh?
Josh, how much do you weigh?
You think I could unplug this?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Stop. How much do you weigh?
This is gonna be a shitty joke, I bet you.
How much do you weigh?
Probably like 175 pounds.
Dang, he's got me by 10.
Told you.